Welcome to the GTM Reset podcast. This is the audio edition of the salesXchange live show for CEOs and revenue leaders who already suspect that the standard business-to-business growth model is no longer fit for purpose. If your MarTech stack keeps growing, activity stays high, but revenue is still slow, costly, or unpredictable, this series is for you. Each episode explores what comes after traditional go-to-market thinking and what it means to replace fragmented activity with a new business operating system. This episode was originally broadcast as a live stream, so if Nigel refers to diagrams, frameworks, or on-screen illustrations, you can watch the full version using the link in the description. So let's get started.
I've done it again. I get so kind of focused on it, and I realise, oh, there's no sound, but there's sound now. I can see it, and that's part and parcel of this. That you can look at how you approach doing live streaming, and a lot of people say, well, it takes a lot of effort and everything else. Well, if you do it by yourself, and you're pressing all the buttons and setting everything up yourself, that's one thing. But the point is that you wouldn't do it by yourself. You would typically have some people behind the camera pressing the buttons and doing all the various technical side of things. And they'd have checklists and so on. But the reason we've been so busy is I'll explain now. As you know, we have an infrastructure that is designed around generating new business, and the point of that is that excuse me. The point of that is that businesses have followed a certain route. I mean, we're talking every single B2B business in the world has followed a certain route. And our objective has always been, how can we change it? How can we make it better? It's really important. I mean, really, really important. Because businesses, if you know the statistics, lots of businesses start up, lots of businesses fail. The statistics are in the region of like 20, 30, 50. 20% the first year, 30% the second, 50% by the third year. By year 10, 70 odd percent. Collectively, or compound, that works out to 91.6% of businesses go bust in 10 years. That's not good. That's shocking. And the stress and grief that accompanies that for absolutely everybody is awful. So why does it happen? And it boils down to just not enough business. Because if you had loads of business coming through the door, some businesses will still go bust because people will just blow the money. But ostensibly, it's about we just couldn't get enough business. We couldn't generate enough revenue, and so on and so on. And you get into hock with the banks, or you go down the path of getting investment. And the whole thing about investment has its own set of problems, and performance-related issues and so on. So what can be done to change this for businesses? And it's not another bit of software. It's not another, this is what everyone's tried for the past, 20, 30 years. I'll put more software and, CRM, and then evolve into SaaS, and then all the different SaaS platforms. Now you've got 30,000 plus SaaS platforms, and half of them are for marketing. And it's, well, if they were all so good, why aren't people flying? Why have the failure statistics stayed the same? So by definition, it doesn't work. You don't need to be a genius to work that one out. It does not. The solutions, the stuff out there that are used for marketing doesn't work. And then, you've got the whole thing about, we'll now call it ABM. Doesn't work. Everybody knows it doesn't work. As a result of me rushing around earlier. So the whole methodology behind selling business to business has to change. It's got to change. Because if what we've been doing for the past 30 years is not delivering the results, same old, then it must be the way that we're going about it. And of course, you've got this contrast between businesses and consumers, and the consumer methodology and mechanism skips off into the sunset, communicating to millions, selling to millions. And it just doesn't happen within B2B. So we have to change things around. And we created this orchestration methodology and infrastructure that is closed loop. The whole point of this is closed loop. If you want something to send an email, fine, get a platform that sends email. I'm not talking about an email service provider. I'm talking things like the automation. You can get AI that relates to sending out emails. But the point is that clearly that's not enough. And business owners will go down the path of thinking, what's the next best thing? People want to go for the next shiny thing, which is like AI or whatever. But it's still not enough, because the fundamental problem is the way people buy, the way you and I buy as business people. That's the problem. And the way that we are allowing marketers to communicate our businesses is fundamentally wrong. I'm calling them all out. There's no point being nice about it. I'm calling them all out. But it's not quite their fault, because it's how they have been taught for decades. But it's wrong. So I've got all these salespeople on my side saying, go on, Nigel, tell them. It's not about that. Tell you too. Because you haven't sat back or taken time out to work out what should be done. So both sales and marketing are wrong, and the person in the middle is you, the CEO. You pay for it. You take it on the chin, the company goes down. They don't. Just go and get another job. So it's a really serious problem. And the bottom line is that salespeople don't do marketing, and marketing people don't sell. But they will tell each other they know everything about their jobs. It's just nonsense, just typical nonsense. And people, we have been wondering, why is there all this friction between sales and marketing? Because it doesn't work, and someone's got to be blamed. So, and that's the critical fundamental issue to do with what salesXchange is about. It's change. We've got to change this. So part and parcel of our system, if I show you this, this is our infrastructure. And if you look at that, there's the kind of the pretty one on a blue background. But the bottom line is that you have to have a methodology and a mechanism that makes everything work together. And you can't throw money at this. People have tried that. People have tried to throw in loads and loads of money at trying to make sales and marketing work. When people when people look for investment, they go for investment, 50% plus goes on marketing. You think about that. 50% gets gifted, literally gifted to marketing, and it never moves. I was going to say something then. It never moves the bleep needle. Not once. So you have to have a different way of understanding. So if we could just go back to this. So starting on 2 o'clock, we've got reach. That's how you reach out to your total addressable market. Everything starts from there. I'm not going to go through all of them, but everything starts from there. And I'm doing the next one, which is live. But everything starts from reach. So this thing about reach is completely based and grounded in the fact that every single buyer, B2B, wants to be anonymous. They want to be anonymous because we don't want to be pestered by anybody calling us up. Nobody likes cold calls, so therefore we have no alternative except to address the elephant in the room. The buyer wants to remain anonymous. That's it. So how on earth are we supposed to try and engage someone who wants to stay invisible? It's impossible, typically. Unless you show them and present to them a different way of interacting with you and engaging with you. And the way of doing that is how I'm going to explain now. You have a website, we have a website. And on the website, we want people to come and find our websites. Yet when they arrive, not on ours, but on most websites, any information, juicy information, informative, educational information that would be there is gated. So you want to fill out your HubSpot Marketo Pardot form, fill out the form, and then allow them to read that information, which they've paid for with their contact details, which then duly gets passed over and sent over to your BDRs to go and phone them up. But the telephone number or the details that they put on the form invariably end up being the generic company email, and you can't get through to the person that downloaded it in the first place. And so the problem is somewhere in the region of 500 to 1. 300 to 1, 500 to 1 for BDRs to try and make outbound and relate and find people that might be interested. It's just how it is. Yeah. So how can we change that? How can we change that process for the anonymous buyer? Well, we've gone live with our chatbot. You go, chatbot, so what? Big deal. The chatbot is everything that I've written. The information that it's got, the core information it's got, is everything I've written, spoken, so transcripts, training, courses, everything has gone into the chatbot. And coming up for nearly 4 years now, but 3.5 years of conversations with AI has all gone into it. So that has become, and I know this figure, 11.2 million words in the chatbot. And the reason that this is important is because if you want to know some information from me, the likelihood is that you don't really want to phone me, because then that starts the process going. So you want to do it anonymously. So you can go to our website right now, click on the button bottom right, ask any question, anything. It will recommend that you do the training. It will recommend, I'll come on to that a bit later. And regarding costs, well, it recommends that you go to the self-discovery section and complete that, because every single cost is different. So we can't do costs, but you can see that the whole point of this is that anybody can go on the website and ask a question of me anonymously. And it's got years and years. I mean, it's the equivalent to something like, I did figure the other day, it's like 200, I think, circa 200 dummies books is the total amount of information and knowledge that's in there. So it's constructed with AI, but it's not from AI. It's from me. So the language bit, putting them together and so on, it comes from AI. But it shows you all the references at the bottom where it's pulled that information from. Very clever, very useful. But there's more. So we've got this 11.2 million words of information. And someone goes on the site and says, what is this? How do I do that? And provides us with questions. We don't know who they are. Yeah, we're not using IP addresses or anything like that. So we don't know who it is. So we're just having these questions. But those questions get put into our database, BigQuery database. So it informs us about what's happening. Very clever. But the next part of it is special. Because we have the questions, and because we have 11.2 million words already, the way we have it set up is that our posts that we send out, information that we send out to generate new business, is informed based upon our 11.2 million words. So I could ask an LLM, because it doesn't matter which one it is, I could ask an LLM, write us a book, and it would write a book about whatever I wanted it to write about that relates to my history in business to business, technology, new business development. Just like that. I say just like that, however long it takes to generate. It would be word perfect. It would be spot on, as if I wrote it. Probably the grammar might be a little bit better, but there you go. So that's one thing. But where it becomes kind of essential in this mechanism is because we have these two things, these two elements. We have multiple tables which hold all the words. Big group of 11.2 plus the questions. Now we already send out posts on social media every day, and all of those posts are being monitored in terms of how many impressions and what was the engagement, so reactions and comments and so on, and they come back. So we know what's happening exactly, and that information goes back into BigQuery as well. So now BigQuery's got three lots of things. It's got 11.2, it's got the questions that are being asked, and it's got the comments and responses from our posts. It then adjusts the content. It adjusts the content before it's sent back out again. Does it once a month. We've got to give it some time to land. But at the end of a month or end of a quarter, does a review, changes it. We don't touch it. I've been doing this long enough. That's just amazing. So now we have a genuinely autonomous social media methodology that is closed loop with our knowledge and understands the questions that come in and the comments that come in and redefines the information go back out again. Hands off. We put out something like between 400 and 600 posts a month, every month. I don't touch it. We're going that way. And now you know why those arrows keep cycling around. Because every single thing we do is closed loop. So, when we look at this part here, this is reach. The bottom here, if I go on to here. So, at the top here, we've got SX reach. And I just clicked on it. This is all interactive, so you can click on it and see what it relates to. So within SX Reach, this is how you reach your total addressable market. And in order to do that, we have what we did. It's easy to give things labels. We call it the SX Scheduler. So it's for social posts, email posts, social emails, and banners related back to your website. Now, whilst at the moment we use a Joomla website, but we're in the process of building out a new website, but I'm not doing it. Because there are connectors, these MCP connectors. We have MCP connector from our system into Framer. And so Claude will build the system in Framer and do the design and do every single piece of written confirmation or content, sorry, call to actions, everything, the lot. So now, if you think, we now have this methodology, this mechanism, complete closed loop. We know what we've said, because that's here, and that's in the center. Okay, that's our BigQuery information. We know what's happening within LinkedIn, for example, and what's being said to LinkedIn and how that's working. The information and comments that are made from the chatbot and from LinkedIn is informing us as to what we should be saying on the website, and it changes it dynamically as closed loop. So we have 4 things in our closed loop for our new business development. So we've got social, email, banner, and website. And when it comes to emails, I'll tell you what I'm doing right now. I haven't pressed go yet. There's two kind of concurrent projects. One is an email campaign. An email campaign is to communicate about our course. I'll come on to that in a second, but to communicate about our course. And the point is that I can now say, I want you to do a sequence of emails to list XYZ, and I want it to go out every week and to promote different elements of information relating to the course to encourage people to do the course and run that for 12 weeks. Do the pictures as well, do the images as well, relevant images. We've got some in our, we've got some standard images, but also you can blend them with using Gemini, Nano Banana. Start it next week. That's it. Second, I'm going to start a new series, a structured series. And these ones I'm doing at the moment, in between me getting it sorted out and doing a variety of other things, is I'm saying to Claude, write me 12 scripts over a 12-week period. Once those scripts are completed, I want you to write 12 emails communicating to our email list and stagger them so they're sent out before I do the actual live show, and send and communicate that. Also, produce the banners and post the banners to LinkedIn, and post social posts to LinkedIn as well, with the call to action being the link to watch the show. Process all of that and display it on a review. And it gives me a review page, HTML review page of every single image, every single piece of text, every single call to action. Yeah, that's fine. Go ahead with that. I don't know about you. I think that's mind-blowing, jaw-dropping. So one person with this, because you've got 11 million words, so these are our words, this is our intelligence, not hallucinating or whatever the hallucinatory, whatever. We haven't got a hallucinating AI writing stuff for us. It's coming from me. And you know, we're looking at some new modules for the course. We've got 20 modules. I want some new modules written about the new development. Like, for example, like the RAG. We only went live with the RAG this week. I want a new module written for a training module for the RAG, how it works, how it benefits, and so on and so on. Yep, okay. And it writes the whole thing word for word, with timing, with images, with the presentation. I mean, come on, this is great. This is what... So what I'm getting at is the point here is this marketing mechanism that we have all been used to for the past 20, 30 years, it doesn't work. Something else has to take it, has to replace it in its entirety. It must. And what does it look like? Well, it's got to align to how people buy. But we already know that because you and I buy stuff. We buy stuff all the time. So we know exactly how people buy. And when you can compare and contrast that against how you are selling, your marketing team is saying, this is how we're supposed to start the relationship off. You go, wait a second, I wouldn't buy it. I don't do that. So it's a quantum shift. It's a change. It requires different thinking. And that's the point of our course. It requires different thinking. You know, it's not a course, it's not a replacement sim qualification or for some novice to go, I fancy doing a bit of marketing. No, it's about reevaluation and reevaluating what's been happening in marketing so that people will start to rethink how they approach it. So it's a retraining course, not training course. And if you think about it, every college, university, everywhere that marketing training happens, every CV, every job description asks for the same thing. If you do what you've always done, you get what you've always got. And when and those job descriptions, I mean, and bearing in mind, if you think about recruitment aren't there to help you. They're just there to place people with who you say we want. So you tell them what you want, they go out and find it. So therefore, it's very easy to find thousands of job descriptions that say exactly the same thing. Demand gen, lead gen, ABM, pay-per-click. What a waste of time, effort and money. But that's what's being asked, and therefore supply and demand. If you keep asking for it, they'll keep training for it, and these people will keep coming in. Yet we still keep going bust. The B2Bs keep going bust. And considering, if you look at the numbers, that there might be 212,000 businesses in the UK that have between 10 and 50 employees. Between 50 to 250, there are 38,000. And between 250 and above, there are 8,000. So 212, 38 and 8. So 250 million businesses above 10 employees. Pretty much split down the middle with B2B and B2C. And every single, and fancy that, if you think about that, there's no separate training course for B2B, B2C. Doesn't exist. It's just marketing. Everything's thrown into the same pot. And people wonder why it doesn't work. And so that's why it's so fundamental, it needs to change. And if you think every single business in B2B, so get rid of B2C for now, every single business in B2B has got the same demand gen, lead gen, ABM and pay-per-click SaaS that it's had for the past 20 years. So how on earth is anybody supposed to define their own USP when you're not even competing, you're emulating, you're copying, everybody's doing exactly the same thing. Same tools, same problems. Everybody's struggling to generate new business because it's a complete and utter mismatch which has only served MarTech. So now it's time to change. And that's why we've got that. We've got this integrated, it's script based. It's jaw-dropping, really. It brings together everything that the businesses need purely to generate new business. I don't care about marketing. I'm not interested in marketing teams, people as such. But I'm not kind of. I am having a go, but I'm not having a go because it's kind of not marketing people's fault. It's not their fault. But if you take that recent news from IKEA, they said that when they introduced their own AI, they realised that they could have got rid of thousands of jobs. I think it was 8,500 jobs, but they didn't. They retrained them to align with what the AI had told them. And because they did that, they increased their turnover by 1.4 billion. Happy days. So this is about taking a different, we've all been kind of going headlong into this and doing the same old, day in, day out. Do the same thing, get the same results. Time for a change. Got to change. And so we've built the website, we've got this information, there's copious amounts of information data on there to learn and understand this. And when you get to that point, you go, do you know what, this is a little bit more than just interesting. We've got a self-discovery mechanism on here called SX Connect. You go on there, fill out the document, fill out the form. It's a form if we're talking about forms, but this is a kind of a reflective form because it helps you understand exactly what you're paying. You send that to us, and you book a meeting when it suits you, and we have a meeting, and we do this. Do exactly this. And this is what we are recommending every business does. Exactly this. Whether you're doing a live show, whether you're doing a meeting. Same methodology, same kit, same approach. So it doesn't matter where your salespeople are. They are delivering the most professional looking approach to every meeting that they do. But before they do the meeting, once you finish that self-service discovery, the system does what it does. It does the research, generates the slide deck, generates the proposal, delivers everything to the salesperson before the meeting. So the salesperson doesn't have to do anything, except it's one thing they've got to do. When they confirm the cost, they just put it into the system, just confirm the cost. And now you've got complete and total cradle to grave reporting and operations. So you can see how much or how many impressions you get from a social post to tracking that through UTM codes right the way through to a closed deal. And the best thing about this, I love this bit, probably more than anything else. If you can think it, you can have it. You can do it. So it goes way beyond SaaS, goes way beyond, and what we'll do is we'll send some people in to train you how to use the screens and which one to click on it. It's gone, finished. What do you want to do? I want to tell our market that we exist. Fine. We do some social posts. Yeah, we do some social posts. And you tell it. Do the social posts for, do a track. One track equals 30 posts. You can have 20 tracks a day on LinkedIn if you wanted to. That's 600 posts a month. On repeat, don't touch it. Self-monitoring. So there is no typical training as such. The training comes from rethinking what's going wrong. How do we change this? And it's fundamental. It starts right at the bottom, right at the beginning, rather. It's foundational because it starts with how you communicate with people, and what the recipient's expectation is of you. Not the other way around. Not let's get out there, let's get amongst it, let's get on the phones, let's spam everybody. It's not about that. It's got to be looked at from the other perspective. And you as a CEO, you're the person that can do that because you're the one that buys. Or if you're a buyer, yeah, you're the one that buys. You know how you go about things. That essential information needs to be fed into marketing. Tell them to stop doing what they're doing. Doesn't work. But that's it for today. Short and sweet. I think it was short and sweet. What time have we got here? Look at that. 35 minutes. It's got to be a record. I could talk for England. But that's it. What I would I would recommend you do is to go on the website, check out the RAG system that we've got, and on there's one particular section which we have, which is it's for CEOs. And as you can see there's knowledge base that answers your questions directly. That's it. Have a great week. I will be here, same time, same place next week, and to give you more updates, see where we're at, and share with you where we are with these voice-led instructions to communicate to a total addressable market. And it's a bit like you have employees and you say go and do something and they forget. Or they don't do exactly what you want, or they don't report, or something gets missed, whatever it is. This is all defined in advance. Go and do that, do as you're told. 24/7, never off sick, no holiday to pay, nothing. And you can say, we want to communicate to our total addressable market. And if you perceive or understand that in your particular market, whatever it is, you will be potentially the first, unless there are thousands of people listening to this. But we don't communicate to thousands of people. We couldn't. We're taking this nice and conservatively slow, because that's the only way that I want to work. But you have to think about it. Where's the rest of your competition? You are doing exactly the same as your competition and vice versa. So it doesn't matter whether you've got 10,000 employees or 10. You are doing exactly the same as your competition. Do what you've always done. Get what you've always got. Have a great week. Weekend's up soon. Football's on. Enjoy it. See you next.
You have been listening to the GTM Reset podcast, the audio edition of the salesXchange live show. If this episode reflects what you are seeing in your own business, the next step is to explore the model properly. Use the links in the description to watch the full video version, work through the foundational documents, and request a private strategy call if you want to see how this would apply inside your organization. Thanks for listening.